The Utah Jazz have lost their third straight game in the final seconds tonight to the Sacramento Kings, and a De'Aaron Fox left-handed layup with 0.4 seconds left. Lauri Markkanen gave us a moment of excitement, but it was wiped off, and the Jazz have lost 5 straight by a total of 15 points. Lots of positives to talk about, though, in this one, and Ron Boone and I will do it coming up on POSTCAST. Welcome to POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone, and Ron, I mean, it's incredible. I'm not sure we've ever been through something like this when Kevin Huerter 3 was with like 4 seconds left, and then the Markkanen shot doesn't go. The Tyler Hero is literally at the buzzer. This one was with 0.3 seconds left and basically at the buzzer because Markkanen couldn't have gotten that shot off any sooner, and then it went in, and then it didn't count, just to add to even more like just heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losing that the Jazz have gone through. 5 games by 15 points. I really feel for the guys at this point. I feel for Will and the coaching staff, who's all in their first group together. I feel for these guys because this has to hurt.
Yeah, it definitely has to hurt. It hurts us, seeing it lose ball games like this. But for the most part, David, they're in every game and they're giving themselves a chance to win. That's what you can ask for a team like this. They're doing that, but boy, they deserve to win some of these games that down the stretch in the closing seconds of a game because they work so hard, and things seem to go their way. You think they're out of it, and they're down 10, down 12, and all of a sudden it's a tie ball game. They just continue to fight.
Jazz have lost 8 of their last 10 games that went into the clutch. I mean, this is now really got to be gnawing at them a little bit. And 5 straight overall by a total of 15 points. I do think, I think maybe what makes it so painful is how impressive the performance was. Sacramento got them early. They led by 12 at the end of one. It was the second largest deficit we've had in the first quarter all season long. We battled and battled and they battled and battled and battled their way back into it. They didn't lead from the 7-11 mark of the first quarter until midway early in the fourth. And they just kind of the perseverance and the resiliency and the fight of this group is so impressive. And then to get no dividends out of it has to just be brutal.
Yeah, that has to really hurt. And they make big shots. They do everything right except hold on to that lead down the stretch. And as you mentioned, the second largest deficit all year. And I think Minnesota was a 40-21 lead against the Jazz, 40-26 lead in the second game of the season. But otherwise, they've give themselves a chance to win. There's not a lot you can, to decide on, where you want to cover this, but the fact that they stay in the ball games.
I like what Lacey says. Lacey says that's the most exciting loss ever. It definitely had a moment in there where it definitely was. I mean, Lowry's shot, I think we all kind of knew that it might not count. But that was something else. De'Aaron Fox, 22 points in the fourth quarter on, I think it was 9 of 10 shooting.
9 of 10, yes.
He has made the most clutch field goals of anyone in the NBA. I think if I'm a fan, and I think if I'm a play-by-play announcer, if I'm being totally honest, I'm wondering, is there anything that could have been done to make it so that De'Aaron Fox at some point wasn't the one making those plays? We've talked to Will Hardy a lot about how hard it is to double in this league, and how if you double, you're leaving a wide open 40% 3-point shooter in this league now. It's why Giannis had 54. It's why Donovan had 71. It's why guys are Luka's going out for 50 and 60 because you just don't want to leave wide open shooters. But is there anything they could have done? Was Mike Brown doing something with spacing that made it difficult to do that? What was going on there?
I don't know, David, and you're absolutely right. The spacing in the league now is it's unbelievable, and the number of shooters that teams have now from team to team. Everybody can shoot the basketball. Everyone wants to shoot the three, and when you start doubling, especially if you double early in the clock, I mean, you're gonna pay for it. Late in the clock, sometimes you can do it and you can rush players and all of a sudden they're not getting that comfortable shot. But for the most part, the only thing that I probably would have liked to have seen with Fox is to make him go back to the double team. The double team was coming from the left, and that means that Fox would have been on his right hand and not his left going to the basket.
They spaced Fox to the left side of the floor in almost every single one of these. There's a single player in that corner. There's 3 players on the right side. So when the Jazz brought the double on the final play and he drove left on Markkanen, the double just couldn't get there. Like, it didn't get there in time, and they didn't double super early.
So it was a smart play there as well, David. They wanted to double, and if Markkanen would have been able to hold him up a little bit or force him back to his right hand, they're doubling with a 7-footer and a 6'11" guy, which means, okay, now he's got to fight to throw the pass over the top of the defenders, and they can cover so much with the wingspan and maybe, come up with a deflection or something like that. But he got to his left hand and got all the way to the basket.
Super interesting part to me about this game is if we go back and rewatch the fourth quarter, my memory is that De'Aaron Fox calls Kelly Olynyk up the first time, Jordan Clarkson the second time, and Lauri Markkanen the third time, which I think actually from a Jazz standpoint might make it really hard to double. Because if you don't know, if you think Fox is bringing Olynyk and you're like, okay, well, the minute Olynyk gets there, we're going to bump out, we're going to double out of this. This is our rotation. And then he doesn't. He brings Clarkson. Clarkson made a really risky defensive play late that allowed Fox to dunk. And then the last one, he goes after Markkanen, who, frankly, if you were to ask me who I probably want defending on the final play, and I'm the Jazz, and my choices were Kelly Olynyk, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, I think, was on the court. They were,
yes,
and then Vanderbilt
was the doubler.
There were a bunch of changes the Jazz made in the third quarter. We'll get to in a second. But, like, Markkanen's probably the guy I wanted if I was the Jazz at that point. Like, he's 7 feet, he's long, and he got beat. Like, De'Aaron Fox just beat him. Like, De'Aaron Fox was on a different planet.
And you're looking at 20, 24, 25 feet away from the basket, trying to defend a much quicker, much faster player from that part out there on the floor. So you see why the Jazz at that point wanted to go and double. There was only 9 seconds on the clock. So if he puts the ball on the floor and he has to change directions one time or he has to stop, that's time running off the clock. Now you run it with a double. Now you're putting him in a short clock, and who knows what would have happened. But he got to the basket, and that's it.
The other big plays of that fourth quarter is that Domantas Sabonis catches 3 guys on backdoor cuts, where the Jazz are so worried about the handoff, they're jumping the top side, and guys go backdoor, and Sabonis got all 3 of them.
Yeah, just smart basketball, great offense, and you take advantage of what the defense is giving you. With this type of offense, I mean, you can't cheat, and with the dribble hands-offs and the guys relocating, it's just a tough offense to defend.
Let's talk about Lauri Markkanen. I mean, he just continues to do this every single night. 28 points. Tonight he does it without the 3 and really without shooting well. He shoots 6 of 15. He goes 15 of 15 at the line. He has 48 of his last 49 at the free throw line. While those around him have struggled in the clutch from the free throw line, Markkanen in the clutch over the last 10 games, I don't know, I think he was 6 of 6 tonight, is now, I think, 17 of his last 17 at the clutch in the free throw line at the clutch, in the time which the Jazz have now lost 8 of 10 clutch games. I mean, he was the go-to guy late. I don't know if you have your fourth quarter only box. In the fourth quarter, the Jazz end up shooting 8 of 18. Conley had a nice layup late in the game. Jordan Clarkson had 2 field goals to go along with 2 turnovers. But Markkanen 7 points, 5 at the line, and getting fouled on a 3-point shot late were vital. He continues to be outstanding. Yeah,
he's obviously he's a clutch free throw shooter, and guys like that don't mind going to the free throw line. I think last year, David, he may have shot 86% from the free throw line, if I remember correctly. But he's money at the free throw line. I mean, it's put him on the line and let him do his thing.
Bunch of comments on the Fox switch where Jordan goes to the gamble, leads to a dunk, has a few people upset. I think probably the head coach as well. I think that's probably a fair comment. Overall, I mean, I really kind of, I get it. Losses are no fun. I really am just kind of, I thought the Jazz were getting run tonight. Like when they were down 12 in the first and they didn't have a good first quarter and they looked totally discombobulated, and then they put up a really good fight in the second quarter, and I think we're still down 8. Like, I think they made very little inroads. I had this, like, bad feeling, and this group just doesn't get run. Like, that's the most impressive part of this group all year, is they simply don't get run wrong.
Yeah, you got a bunch of guys that want to play hard. You got a bunch of guys that complement this system, And you have to give Will Harding a lot of credit for, from the combinations that he's putting out there on the floor. Some of them we might not like, but he's giving everyone a chance to be that man. He's also said many times that sometimes it's not going to be Markkanen, sometimes it's going to be Clarkson, maybe Conley or something like that with the type of offense that they're running. But and they're efficient. Offensively, they're really efficient. Defensively, I think in some situations, I think when we have three bigs out there on the floor, it can cause problems for your opponents, but it can also be a detriment for you defensively.
Jazz fall tonight on another heartbreaker. All right, Ron Boone, who are your stars tonight?
I'm going to go, obviously, with the main man, for sure.
Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen.
I think I denied him a star the other night. He could have had, it's kind of like denying Michael Jordan an MVP.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think Beasley's probably the other.
Oh, I was going Conley.
Who?
Mike Conley, plus 11 tonight, 18 points, 7 assists, bunch of plays late, 3 steals. He wasn't guarding De'Aaron Fox. Here's the 2 moves, by the way, the Jazz made that changed the game. Jared Vanderbilt opened the third quarter guarding, and maybe Vando was great. Vando kept us in the game. He might deserve a star. Vanderbilt was guarding De'Aaron Fox, and then the Jazz were doubling Sabonis in the third quarter. That changed the game. Actually, I'm going Jared Vanderbilt with my second star.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. He had one. You really got to take advantage of his ball games because they're not, you don't get a chance every night. But when he plays with that kind of energy,
he kept us. We were dead man walking, and he kept us going. He had 14 and 9 tonight. So I thought about Mike Conley, but I'm going Jared Vanderbilt and Lauri Markkanen. Yeah. You're going Beasley still?
I'm going to stay with Beasley. I like the fact that he had some big shots in that third period. When they could have been down 10, something like that. So you probably could have given it, if I had to switch and given it, I probably would give it to Vanderbilt.
Okay. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to do anything.
I know that.
Okay.
But I'm staying with Beasley.
See you guys.